The Biden administration has now said that they've flown more than 320,000 migrants from other countries into certain and secret airports into the United States. Now, I'm going to break down why this is and now why many Democrats are furious with President Biden and the Biden administration, saying that now those migrants and more will be coming to their cities very soon, which means your city will soon be overrun. I'm going to break down what's going on, why so many are just upset and irate at this time, and break down what is about to happen moving forward. All I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. Now, let's begin. First off, let's discuss why Democrats are now coming out in opposition of what President Biden has been doing. Because for the longest time, many Democrats have been in support of changing these laws, changing these policies, and allowing more people into the United States. But guess what? We have an election coming up. In about 7 months, we have an election, and that election is going to dictate who's in the Senate, who's in the House, and who our next president is going to be. Well, this is bad news because the Biden administration has admitted they've flown more than 320,000 migrants secretly into the U.S. to reduce the number of crossings at the border that national security say we have vulnerabilities. Now, here's the issue. This article is saying 320,000. But according to multiple other reports, it is closer to 360,000 people that have been secretly flown into the United States. Now, the reason why many people are upset about this is because this is something that we continue to see. The Biden administration finds a loophole, and again, I don't want to say they're the only ones to do it, but in this case, the Biden administration continues to find loopholes that allows people into the United States. And get this, of these 320,000 people, every single one of them was able to go and claim that they are allowed to be here, but they were doing it through this, okay? It's Biden's expansion of the CBP One app, which allows migrants to apply for asylum in their own country, and then they'll be flown into the United States and given 2 years to obtain legal status. But you know what's very interesting? Is that as soon as you enter into the United States, you are now eligible immediately for a work visa. You can now work. You are allowed to legally work, which means you can then go and pay some taxes, right? You can then go and buy stuff. You're now eligible for other things. You're contributing to Social Security. So the Biden administration says this is perfectly fine because we are spending money to make money. We're spending money flying these 300,000 people into the United States, but at the same time, as long as they go get a work permit and they work, they're paying taxes. That money goes to our economy, goes to Social Security, goes to Medicare, goes to all these things. So they say that right there is we now are getting rid of 300 plus thousand people from trying to cross the U.S. southern border. We're just going to fly them into certain cities throughout the United States. Well, many Democrats are furious because guess what? They're going into sanctuary cities. Look at this. This is just an article from Fox News. It says, which cities, counties, and states in the U.S. are sanctuary jurisdictions? Well, I want to show you. I'm just going to show it to you really quick. We're not going to go through too much of it, but here are the states. Okay, I'll read you the states. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. Those are all the states. And then you come down here and look at the cities and counties. Okay? And I'm just going to talk over this. I'm not going to read it to you, but you can see depending on which state you're in, if a city or county is actually included. But what you need to keep in mind is that these are in some of these counties and in some of these states, this is where people are being dropped off. Okay? They are simply being dropped off and then they can fend for themselves. That's a concern. Well, guess what? Many Democrats are irate. It says Biden's sanctuary city pivots, puts vulnerable Senate Democrat stances in spotlight. Here's the reason why. For the longest time, many Democrats have been, pretty much in support of what President Biden is doing until now. They are now changing their stances on sanctuary cities, many of which say they do not support them anymore. They do, and they never have. But I want to read you some statements here. Okay? Here's one from Senator Tammy Baldwin. Okay, she's a Democrat out of Wisconsin. She says, Wisconsinites have said loud and clear, they want real action that fixes our broken immigration system, secures our southern border, and ensures that anyone who is a violent threat to our communities is prosecuted. And I am committed to working with anyone to do just that. Now, her voting history, does not reflect that statement. I want to read you another one down here. Okay? It says Senator Tester strongly believes local jurisdictions should cooperate with ICE. This is a statement from his office. It says he does not support sanctuary cities and believes anyone who enters the country must be vetted and go through legal channels that keep our nation secure. Now, I want to read you this right here. It says Tester's strong stance against sanctuary cities presents a contrast with his voting history. However, similar to Baldwin, the Montana Democrat voted against invoking cloture to proceed with bills aimed at preventing sanctuary city policies and halting federal grants from going to them. That is huge. Because, again, now we are seeing people go back and look at the voting history. Is this person actually doing what they're saying? Well, here's the thing, and this is the reason why many lawmakers are changing their stance at this time. Number one, we have an election coming up. Number two, we have an election coming up, but that city, that state that they're representing, that they would be a senator for or a state representative, the problem is their constituents are now seeing the problem. Their constituents, based off what one person's saying, is that they want to see less migrants coming into their city until we can get enough resources for our residents first. It needs to be residents first, citizens first, and then, only then, they would provide and be happy to provide assistance to migrants coming into their city or their state. But here's the concern. Many senators are now discussing the possibilities that their states are going to be next. We are seeing so much migration in New York, Chicago, in Colorado, and California. Those are the 4 states that are seeing the most. Now here's the concern. What happens when all these migrants that are coming into these cities and states realize that they don't have anything there for them? So then, especially in California and New York, the issue in those 2 spots is they're expensive. You buy food, it's expensive. You get any type of housing and shelter, it's expensive. Jobs, there are jobs, but if there's so many people in those 2 locations, the issue is they're going to be fighting for work with all these other people. So the easiest thing is, instead of fighting in those locations, move. So move to New Jersey, move to North Carolina, move over to Tennessee. Instead of in Chicago, go and maybe you're going to go into Ohio. Instead of California, maybe you go into Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, right? The same thing goes for people in Colorado. Change it up. Go somewhere else. Go to Wyoming. Go to Idaho. Go to Nevada, right? You can go to all these different places. Go to Oklahoma if you want to. But here's the thing. This is why many lawmakers, many people are saying that your city is next. And it may not just be your city, it may be your state. So be ready for that, because as more people start entering into the United States and the Biden administration sees that what they have done in the past worked. If they just don't tell you that they're flying people in and it's a secret and they're flying them in overnight, right, where everyone's sleeping and nobody sees that the airport is completely packed with flights from people from China, from Asia, from just different countries, right? Just any continent, they're flying them in. That's the concern. So just want to provide you with this quick little update. We're seeing a lot more reports and a lot more insight as to how many people actually entered into the United States illegally. Because get this, even though the Biden administration brought them in as illegal immigrants, they are now being awarded work permits. And again, they just have to claim asylum within the next 2 years. That's it. So they may be attempting to claim asylum when President Biden might not even be in the Oval Office. Just think how that's going to go down. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.